Amelia Rowan drove home for Thanksgiving with her car packed full of gifts and food, expecting warmth, laughter, and the smell of turkey. Instead, she walked into silence. The house was cold, empty, and dark. Only Edward Monroe, her husband Logan Reeves's elderly stepfather, sat in a rocking chair by the window. His eyes were calm and sharp, nothing like the decrepit old man Logan had always described. On the counter lay a folded note. Amelia picked it up, her hands trembling as she read. "Gone on a Caribbean cruise with Tessa. Mom came too, she needed a break. You'll stay home and take care of Edward. Back Monday. Logan." Edward appeared at the doorway and asked quietly, "He's not coming back till Monday, is he?" Amelia swallowed hard. "No, they're all gone." He gave a bitter smile. "Left you with the dirty work, didn't they? Classic Logan." The words hit her like a slap. Months of plans and promises shattered in one careless note. Hoping for an explanation, Amelia checked her phone. No call from Logan, just a new Instagram tag. She opened it and froze. Logan was smiling on the deck of a cruise ship, champagne raised high, his arm around Tessa Vaughn, the coworker he'd just been helping with work. The caption read, "Number New Beginnings Caribbean Getaway with Family." Family. The word burned in her mind. In another photo, Caroline Reeves Monroe, Logan's mother, reclined by the pool, looking perfectly relaxed for someone who needed a break. Amelia opened their banking app. A withdrawal, $5,200, 3 days ago, almost all their house savings, gone. "He took our money," she whispered. Edward sighed, unsurprised. "They've been doing that to me for years. A little here, a little there, for your care, they say." Around them lay dirty dishes, empty takeout boxes, and a half-empty fridge. Something inside Amelia hardened. "No, we deserve better than leftover soup." She grabbed her coat and went out. That night she came back with groceries, turkey, potatoes, vegetables. Simple, but enough for a real Thanksgiving dinner. Not for celebration, but for dignity. When she returned, the counter was cleared. Edward sat at the table with a stack of papers, bank statements, notes, medical records. "These are the facts," he said. Month after month of withdrawals for things that never came, appointments canceled, heat turned down to 62 degrees. He paused. "I have late-stage cancer. A few months left." Then he slid an envelope across the table. "My real will, the one they don't know about. Help me document everything, the neglect, the theft, and I'll make sure you're safe." Amelia hesitated, but Edward leaned closer. "They think they've left you with a burden, but they've given us an opportunity." After a long silence, she nodded. "Let's begin." Two people discarded by the same family had just formed an alliance not out of vengeance, but out of truth. Edward showed Amelia his unused office. A hospital bed sat in the corner untouched. "I don't use that thing," he said with a small smile. "Makes me feel like I'm already gone." He unlocked a drawer and handed her a folder marked Medical Oncology Reports, Scans, Prescriptions. The prognosis was grim and fast. Then he led her into a small meditation room. Behind a dull painting, he loosened a panel in the wall, revealing a hidden, waterproof case. Inside was the secret Caroline and Logan didn't know about. Over $3 million in accounts and investments, a Vermont property, and documents proving the house was owned by a holding company, not by Caroline or Edward personally. "They think they'll inherit it," he said quietly. "They won't." Only his financial advisor in Boston knew the truth. Amelia realized just how much Logan and Caroline had stolen and how much more they were about to lose. A few days later, Edward's attorney, Margot Hale, arrived, calm, precise, unshakable. "Finalize the will, transfer the assets, record everything," she said. "When they contest this, every line must hold." Amelia's background in design made her methodical. She digitized files, labeled folders, built timelines. Margot approved with a nod. "This documentation will protect you both." Then came the medical theater. They set up oxygen tanks and monitors props to mirror Edward's real condition. Lighting softened the deep shadows in his face. Amelia posed beside him, exhausted, hollow-eyed. She kept a health log, fevers, pain spikes, shortness of breath, each entry backdated to show a steady decline before Logan left. She called him voice trembling. "I really need your support right now. Every voicemail saved, time-stamped." To widen the witness circle, she texted Chloe Reeves, Logan's sister, attaching a picture of Edward. Chloe replied instantly, "Oh no, poor Uncle Edward. Keep me posted." The trap was in place, silent, deliberate, and perfect. A knock came the next morning. Mrs. Whitaker, the elderly neighbor, stood with a casserole dish and sympathy in her eyes. "Over coffee," she said quietly. "I've seen that family for years. Edward paid for Logan's college, bought him his first car, and when he fell outside last winter, Logan didn't even answer the door." Her story opened a floodgate. Within 48 hours, 5 more neighbors came forward, each with their own account of neglect. Amelia logged every visit, dates, words, their impressions of Edward's health and the medical setup. At the bank, Mr. Raymond Scott, the branch manager, helped Edward finalize transfers. He sighed. "Logan was here last week asking about your accounts. I still remember him cashing your graduation gift, said it wasn't enough for the car he wanted." Each statement, each witness, each piece of paper tightened the circle around the truth. That night, Chloe video called. Amelia turned the camera toward Edward, weak and pale. "Should we come home early?" Chloe asked. "The tickets were non-refundable, and Mom's been so stressed." Amelia's tone was calm. "If you want to say goodbye, now's the time." The entire call was recorded. Edward smiled faintly. "My family," he murmured, weighing cruise tickets against saying goodbye. By Sunday morning, Edward's condition worsened. His lips turned blue, his hands trembled. The performance was over. This was real. Nurse Evelyn Hart examined him and spoke softly in the hallway. "He has hours left, maybe a day." Edward overheard. "Don't call them," he said. "They made their choice, but we have things left to finish." Margot returned with the notary. Edward's hand shook as he signed the final papers. Amelia named as trustee, donations to elder abuse charities, and Logan and Caroline disinherited for abandonment. Then he recorded his last words. "The greatest pain in life isn't illness or death, but realizing those you love see you only as an obligation." He looked straight into the camera and added, "Amelia showed me more dignity in 4 days than my family did in 4 years." Near midnight, he asked for a bottle of port. "To justice," he whispered. "To dignity," Amelia replied. She read a few pages from The Big Sleep. His breathing slowed, then stopped quietly, peacefully. When dawn came, the nurse looked at him and said softly, "He looks peaceful." Amelia stood still, the weight of silence pressing against her. The house felt both empty and sacred. Now it was time to finish what they'd started. Monday morning, calm, focused, Amelia moved through the house with purpose. In the living room, she set Edward's sealed letter beside a smiling family photo, Logan, Caroline, Chloe, and Edward standing slightly apart. On the dining table, she arranged labeled folders: financial exploitation, medical neglect, abandonment timeline. On the TV, she queued up Edward's video message. Upstairs, Crew's photos lay beside his medical charts. She dressed in a simple black dress, packed her suitcase, and waited. Car doors slammed outside. Laughter filled the air. The front door burst open. "Honey, we're home!" Logan called and froze. Caroline frowned. "Why the black dress? Where's Edward?" "Edward passed away Saturday night," Amelia said evenly. The bags hit the floor. "You held the funeral without us?" Logan snapped. "I left messages," she said. "I told you," Chloe whispered, eyes wide. Amelia lifted the envelope. "Edward asked me to read this when you returned." She read his words aloud, holidays forgotten, appointments canceled, waiting for the old man to die. Logan barked. "He was confused." "The medication." "He was perfectly lucid," Amelia said, pressing play. Edward's calm voice filled the room. Caroline's protests faded to silence. Truth was undeniable. The doorbell rang. Margot Hale stepped in, notary by her side. "As executor of Edward Monroe's estate," she said, "I'm here to read his final will." Logan straightened, confident he'd finally get what he wanted. But Margot's voice remained steady. The entire estate of Edward Monroe is left to Amelia Rowan. In addition, significant donations will go to elder abuse prevention foundations. The reason? Abandonment and neglect. "This is fraud," Logan shouted. "You're free to contest it," Margot replied. "But the video, documents, and witnesses are all airtight. I'd advise against wasting money you don't have." Caroline snapped. "What money we don't have?" Margot turned calmly. "This property belongs to the Monroe Family Trust, now under Amelia's control. Investment accounts you've accessed are frozen for investigation." Logan's face drained of color. Chloe asked softly. "What about our college funds?" Grandpa said. Margot's tone gentled. "He gave Logan the money to start them. They were never opened." Chloe turned to her brother, horrified. "You took it?" The room erupted, yelling, denial, panic. Tessa quietly slipped out. Amelia picked up her suitcase. "Amelia, please," Logan begged. "I'll change. It didn't mean anything with Tessa." She looked at him calmly. "You left him to die. Now you get nothing, including me." She placed her wedding ring and apartment keys in his palm. He shouted after her, "I'll fight this in court!" She paused at the door. "Everything was done legally. And you taught me one lesson: Logan, always keep receipts." Then she walked into the cold November sunlight as the house behind her erupted in chaos. That evening, Amelia stayed in a quiet hotel arranged by Margot. Through the window, she saw Mrs. Whitaker across the street lift a hand in silent understanding. Driving away, she felt a strange peace through the grief. Edward's legacy wasn't just money, it was clarity, courage, and the strength to rebuild her life with self-respect. Inside that house, Logan and Caroline now faced the truth. The old man they dismissed as weak had been in control all along. He died on his own terms. And now, Amelia could live on hers. "To justice," he had said. "To dignity," she had answered. Those words lingered warm as the last sip of port. The silence that once felt empty now meant peace. What mattered most wasn't what she gained, but what she refused to leave behind: the evidence, the truth, and a life rebuilt on self-respect. Edward found peace. And now, at last, so did she.